Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the UTFL Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Colton Thomas. Last week, the UTFL released their power rankings. So this week, we'll talk about my personal power rankings and where I think teams stand right now. Plus, I'll give a brief description of each team's history and their 2019 schedule. So let's get into it. The UTFL released their power rankings last week. This was based off where voters would think teams would end at the end of the 2019 season. So here are my power rankings at the beginning of the 2019 season and where they stand right now. At number 1, I have the Fallouts. The Fallouts made some great additions this offseason, and this team's going to be very hard to beat. At number 2, I have the Braves. They lost their rising star quarterback this offseason, but they picked up longtime UTFL veteran Gunnar Plotz. He's a great athlete, but very different in his play style than his predecessor. Look for the Braves to have a very different offense this season. At 3, I've got the Knights. With the Wyoming Outlaws coming into the league, a few players from the Knights left, but I think the Knights still have a great core of players and should be able to hold their own for now. At number 4, I've got the Wyoming Outlaws. It's a brand new team coming into our league, but they've been playing together for years and should come into the UTFL strong. But 9-man football is a different beast, and it should take a few games for them to adjust, but I see them going really far in the future. At number 5, I have the War Chiefs. Haven't heard much about them this offseason, but that doesn't mean much. They could be playing the quiet game and carrying a big stick. This defense knows how to lay some wood, and I expect them to give teams grief. At number 6, I have Space Force. This team's got talent, but lack game time together. That's going to hurt them in the beginning. But this team reminds me of a young Fallouts team, and they're going to make some noise in the coming seasons. At number 7, I have the Spartans. They lost a lot of players this offseason, but the Spartans know how to rebuild their team. I don't see them doing a ton this season because of the rebuild, but never count them out. At number 8, I've got the Outlaws. Last season they lost a lot of players to the Warriors, but it seems they'll be getting some of those players back this season. Though I don't think it'll be enough for this season alone, and they look like the Spartans, and it'll be a rebuild season for them. At number 9, I've got the Reapers. They sound like they've got a lot of good talent coming in this season, and I think they're starting to figure out who they are, and they'll grow faster and faster with each season coming. But still being a young team, it's going to be hard to compete with a lot of these veteran teams. At number 10, I have the Hive. They're new, they're young, and they've got a lot to learn. I don't know a lot about this team coming in, but I know they've got some key players from the Wolves from the last season. I wish them luck in this upcoming season, and don't get too discouraged early. It's going to be an uphill battle, but you can become a great team over the seasons. At 11, I have the Wolves. They had a rough season last season, and they lost some key players this offseason. It's going to be hard, but with hardship comes growth. And this season is going to be a test as a whole. A third season of any team is where a team can fall apart or become a great team. So keep it up. And those are my rankings coming into this season. Leave a comment or thoughts below about my rankings. Now that we've talked about each team's preseason ranking, I want to give a brief description about each team's history, starting with the bottom 6. So let's start with the Wolves. The Wasatch Wolves came into the league back in the spring of 2018. They'll be starting their third season in the UTFL, and they've got a record of 1-13, and their only win coming from their first season against the Reapers in the Expedition game at the end of that season. They have scored 62 points combined in their 2 seasons, and their defense has allowed 439. That's averaging 4.4 games scored and allowing 31.5 points. The Wolves look to change that though. They worked hard this offseason and made some great additions to the team. So let's take a look at their 2019 spring schedule. Week 1, they've got Space Force. Week 2, they've got the Outlaws. Week 3, Braves. A bye on Week 4. Playing the Spartans Week 5. Got another bye Week 6. They've got the Reapers on Week 7, which is the rivalry week. And Week 8, they've got the Hive. Next on the list is the High Country Hive. They're brand new to the league this season, and I don't know a lot, and there's not a lot to go off of. I see them competing well with the lower ranked teams in the UTFL, so let's take a look at their schedule. Week 1, they've got the Reapers. Week 2, they've got the Wyoming Outlaws. Week 3, they've got a bye. Spartans Week 4. Week 5, they got the War Chiefs. Week 6, they got the Knights. Week 7, they've got a bye. They have no rivals, so can't participate in rival week. And Week 8, they've got the Wolves. Next on our list is the Utah Reapers. They began their journey back in the spring of 2018, They too will begin their third season in the UTFL, coming into this season with a 4-10 record with a combined 136 points to 182, averaging 2 wins this season, scoring 9.7 points a game, and their defense allowing 25.8 points a game. The Reapers have made some big swings in the beginning of the last season, and I don't see that stopping. Look to them making some big plays this season and a strong statement. Here's a look at their 2019 schedule. Week 1, we got the Hive, Spartans Week 2, bye Week 3, Fallouts Week 4, a bye Week 5. Then they play the Wyoming Outlaws Week 6. They play the Wolves on Week 7, which is also rivalry week. And they play the Knights Week 8. Moving on down our list, we got the Spartans coming in next. This is the oldest team in the UTFL, starting their 18th season. They began their journey back in the fall of 2010. It's crazy how long this team has been around, with a combined record of 42, 67, and 3, scoring a total of 1,259 points and allowing 1,523. They have had their ups and downs, and a few times they finished last in the league, but they've also gotten the championship twice. Young teams should look at the Spartans for inspiration. Things are going to get tough, but if you continue to work hard, you'll get to where you want to be. Averaging 11.9 points a game and allowing 14.4, it's going to be another down season for the Spartans, but that's because they're rebuilding. Here's a look at the Spartans' schedule. Week 1, they've got a bye. Week 2, they got the Reapers. Week 3, they got the War Chiefs. Hive, Week 4. The Wolves, Week 5. Week 6, they got a bye. Week 7, they're playing Outlaws, rivalry week. And Week 8, they've got Space Force. Moving right down the list, we got the Space Force, brand new team coming into the UTFL, but full of veteran players of the UTFL. They should make some noise this season, but it'll take a few games to get there. Like I said earlier in the show, it reminds me of a young Fallouts team. They've got the talent, the vets, the playmakers. It'll only be time before they're making a run for the title. Let's take a look at their 2019 schedule. Week 1, they got the Wolves. Week 2, the Braves. Week 3, the Wyoming Outlaws. They got a bye Week 4. They got the Knights Week 5. Then they got the Fallouts Week 6. Then they got another bye on Week 7. Rivalry week. Don't have one, can't participate. Sorry guys. Week 8, they've got Spartans. Our last team on our show today is the Wyoming Outlaws. This team has been playing together as a whole for years, but brand new to the UTFL. They should be able to make some noise right off the bat, though they will have a learning curve on how 9-man football is played. So let's take a look at their 2019 spring schedule. Week 1, they've got a bye. Week 2, they've got the Hive, Space Force Week 3, Outlaws Week 4, Braves Week 5, Reapers Week 6. Week 7, they've got a bye. Rivalry week, don't have one yet. Week 8, they got the War Chiefs. And that'll do it for this week's episode. Next week, we'll get into the top 5 teams on my power ranking, as well as strength of schedule. Leave a comment and thoughts below. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. Give me a like as well. Until next time, I'm your host, Colton Thomas.